welcome to Past, Present, and Future, or Three Questions, the podcast where we learn about people's career journeys, how they got to where they are today, and where they'd like to go to next. I'm Parrots Cohn, a technologist and a wordsmith, and in my time in industry, I've been fortunate to work with both large companies and small startups, alongside a number of very talented and hardworking individuals. This podcast is some of my conversations with them, where we learn about their journeys and what motivates them. If you'd like to be in the podcast, please feel free to reach out. You don't have to have a certain level of seniority or a number of years of experience. We all have something to share and learn from each other. If you'd like to sponsor the podcast or get involved in the collaboration, we'd also like to hear from you. All right, looking forward to our journey together as we learn more about each other and enrich ourselves in the process.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another amazing episode. Today we have Morgan on the show. Welcome to the show, Morgan.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
All right, let's start at the beginning. What was the genesis and the first steps of your career that led you up to today?
Yeah, so I guess I started with my Neopets page. It's when I learned how to code. So self-taught CSS, HTML, got really into IRC, so I was doing um, like the MIRC scripting language, got into um, Objective-C, C++, and this was all like middle school, early high school. And then I just stopped. Did college, focused on psychology, and then after college, my first job was at the NFL. And it was a job that was sort of entry level, but go to any meeting you want, work on anything else that you want besides your core priorities, and then figure out what you want to do. And so that was the first time that I really learned about product management as a practice. And it felt like this perfect intersection of a lot of the coding and just like knowing the language, but also the people part and the user experience part that I really focused on with my psychology major. And I really fell in love with it. And so after the NFL, I started working at Spin Media, which was a media company that owned Spin Magazine, Vibe Magazine, a bunch of celebrity gossip websites, very much like the early 2010s. And that was great. But it was also really chaotic. 30 O&O, I think, if I remember correctly. A lot of different content management systems, a lot of different instances of WordPress. And I think that sort of led me to really fall in love with sort of the systems thinking part of product management. And how do all of these things work together to either hold back a company or drive them forward. And from there, I really wanted to just build a new content management system that would really unlock a lot of opportunity and flexibility. And that's what I did at New York Magazine, where I built Clay, open source content management system, really great, still around and still doing what it's supposed to do, which was the goal. So it's an 11-year-old CMS now, which is amazing. And then after that, a lot of my work has really just been focused on internal tools, workflow, really trying to drive that system side of products. So design systems, content platforms, developer experience. Yeah.
Well, that's really cool, and I mean CMSs are as relevant as ever, and it's definitely throughout my corporate travels I've seen different flavors and variations of it, and it's a core user journey, and it still continues to be something that is innovated well, and at other times, as you mentioned, kind of holds companies back. Um, let's move over to the present moment. Love to hear a little bit about what you're working on currently.
Yeah, so a couple years ago, I founded a worker-owned co-op with Shane Friedman, who is my tech lead at the New York Times. Um, the goal was, we really love working together. Um, we do really great work together and wanting to bring that forward, really tackle complex challenges, but sort of away from, I think, some of the complications of just being in an org. We really, want to embed as partners, not vendors, really helping teams reason through architecture, workflow, long-term health, and sustainability. I think that's been really, really rewarding. A lot of our focus has been still on content management systems, specifically teams using Prosmere. I think that's sort of become our bread and butter. And so helping re-architect creative tooling, and just modernize different platforms.
Yeah, I think that's definitely like a very strong point in terms when it comes to successful, I think, consulting partnerships. It's really thinking about kind of that long-term thinking as opposed to there's a specific job to be done, but it's more kind of going into the diagrams, going into the mappings, like why are we chasing this specific job and how does that fit into the larger picture? And it can be a little bit tough kind of in the current landscape where I'm gonna kind of editorialize for a second. I think in one sense, people feel like this is something we haven't experienced before. Um, but in another sense, it's more just a acute curve of different kind of technological innovations in the past. That leads into my next question. Where do you think the future leads in terms of when it comes to systems thinking, when it comes to content management systems, when it comes to product management as a discipline? What does that long-term outlook look like, especially kind of in companies that are trying to right now just kind of try to figure things out quarter to quarter? What is that long-term vision?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting question, and it's one that we deliberate over a lot. I think a big part of it is that AI and other emerging technology, for me, that's not the product, it's a tool and it's a technology. And being able to reframe our thinking on that, I think will make us a lot more successful with adapting it. I think there's so much focus on what efficiency looks like and what speed and output looks like. And I think that there should be a natural shift towards discernment and judgment. How do we really prioritize what matters, when to trust intuition, how to integrate human in the loop into machine systems. I think that's the really big differentiator. And I think that that is something that we do really well at Handle with Care. Really helping organizations codify good instincts into processes, tools, and culture, so that there's, responsible velocity, and not just accumulating a lot of tech debt. And then I think for product, I think there are definitely a lot of great questions to ask about what the role of product looks like. I think there's definitely some fear and anxiety when engineers or designers have more time. Will they be able to do a lot more sort of product thinking and stakeholder management and stuff like that? What is our role? And I think that our role is still kind of the same. Like we are the connective tissue of an organization, and it's our role to set direction and context and meaning, and really make sure that we're always seeing the forest through the trees. Um, and yeah, I think that that's the that's my hope for the future. I think it's going to be a little painful for a little bit, but uh, but yeah, I think that it can unlock so much opportunity.
Just to first of all say the concept of tech debt. You've written a great article on the subject, complete with the calculator. It's a really great resource. I recommend listeners to go check it out. On that piece of kind of the opportunity for software engineers and other stakeholders to wear the product hat, as it were, what would you recommend kind of that first building block or that kind of first framework that helps these cross-functional stakeholders start to see things through a more systems thinking lens, through a more product-driven lens?
That's a hard one. I mean, I think it's always going back to first principles. What are we actually trying to solve for? What is the problem? And that sort of mantra of outcome over output. Really focus on what we need to do and where we provide value. I think empathy is one of the biggest things too, of really being able to um, you know, sit down and think about what the experience should feel like, what the pain points might be. I'm really lucky I work with very product-minded engineers, and I think that's always the biggest piece, is this real passion for how people are using the tools that we build.
Thank you so much. And thank you for taking us on this journey together through your career and kind of providing us this outlook for the future. Yeah, thank you for taking the time to join us on the show today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.